Colorado a good place to live? Now in this video, we're going to take a little bit higher view of this giant rectangle in the middle of the country and give you some pros and cons of living in Colorado. Let's go. Guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Tim Kampmann, your host for Everything Denver, where we talk all things Denver real estate and explore some of the best neighborhoods around the Denver metro area to live in. If you're thinking of a relocation here, please hit me up at the information on the screen and be sure to download that free relocation guide I have linked in the video description below. Now, this video, we're taking a broader look across the entire state of Colorado. What makes it special, what makes it awful, and is it still a good place to live? So starting off, we're gonna hit some of the pros. We're gonna stay positive to start before we skew negative and tell you all the bad things about our state. But so to kick it off, we're going to talk about things that people love about Colorado and why people choose to live here and why I have remained here as a native my entire life and enjoy living in the Colorado area. So one of the big reasons that people are drawn to Colorado is what we're known for, the mountains. We have beautiful views, a very scenic place to live. There's lots of adventure to explore out here in Colorado. Not only the Denver metro area, but actually a lot of the best kept secrets are outside of that. Denver is kind of its own city and it's kind of closed off a little bit from some of that outdoor activity. Still gets to enjoy the same beautiful weather we get in Colorado, but if you're looking for adventure, so many of these places outside of Denver, either north in Fort Collins and Loveland, and to the south in Castle Rock and Lake and Morrison, Littleton, Parker, offer so much more as far as outdoor active lifestyles. So we have our skiing and snowboarding, hunting and fishing. We have mountain biking and hiking. There's just a ton of things to do to live an active lifestyle here in Colorado. And that's the reason a lot of people end up moving here, is because they want to live in the outdoors a little bit more and have quicker access for their camping trips or adventures they can do on the weekend and not have to, schedule a 3 to 5 day camping trip out weeks in advance. They can just, when they have a free weekend, go up to the mountains or explore one of the rivers or lakes that are around and enjoy an active lifestyle and stay healthy. Colorado is one of the healthiest states in the US, and a big reason for that is because we're so active and we do get plenty of sunshine, vitamin D, and activities to do year round. So, second reason people love Colorado and have chosen to relocate here is the beautiful weather. We have 300 days of sunshine here in the Denver metro. There are a ton of days, even in the winter and early springtime, where it's just beautiful out, 50 and 60 degree days where it's really warm. It can feel like a summer day because our humidity is so low. It's very dry out here. We kind of live in a desert style climate. But in the summer, we also, we get definitely warm days where it might be 90, 95 degrees, even break 100 a few times. But we're not like Las Vegas or Phoenix or Arizona where you have heat warnings where you need to stay inside for the day. You can't, be playing outside too much and risk heat stroke. So we got a great blend of, warm days in the winter. We have our cold days in the winters. We get to experience all 4 seasons across the year. Even sometimes we get to experience all 4 seasons in one day. You wake up and it'll be cold winter type temperatures. By midday, it's springtime, sunny and warming up nicely. By the afternoon, it's summer, and then the sun goes down and you're back to spring or winter time temperatures. So we do get some drastic temperature swings that happen throughout our seasons here. But the beautiful weather and being able to go and enjoy a lot of those outdoor activities are big reasons people have enjoyed living here. And number 3, we have a strong economy and good jobs market here. So you've probably heard that Denver is pretty expensive. We'll get to that in our cons area, but our jobs and the economy here is actually very strong because we have a lot of different sectors that people can get jobs in. Everything from the healthcare sector to the finance and energy sector. We're kind of the S&P 500 of local economies. We're not all based around one particular thing. When a town or a city is all based off of oil or maybe auto manufacturing or the tech industry, if that particular sector takes a dive or is having a bad year and is in a recession type of territory, it can be hard on the residents of the town, and downsizing and firings and layoffs can happen. But as far as Denver goes, we're very diverse in our economic opportunities here. Everything from Fortune 500 companies like Ball and Wells Fargo and places that have their headquarters here to federal government jobs. We have a ton of those for people to do here as well. So a lot of people in the Colorado area are able to do a hybrid or remote work for the most part, which makes it a very convenient place to work and to live. You You can have a couple days where you do commute into an office, but you can also have a couple days at home where you work and get to enjoy quicker access when the workday is done to some of the outdoor activities. So strong jobs market and strong economy are another reason that people are flocking to Colorado. And then lastly, lower property taxes here in Colorado and a flat rate income tax are some side benefits of moving to the Colorado area. So I will say this comes with a caveat. Most of our property taxes in our established neighborhoods in the resale market are going to be significantly lower than a lot of places around the country. The average tax rate on some of these resale communities in Denver and Aurora, Lakewood, and the already established suburban areas is usually around 0.5% to 0.75%. So that makes for very affordable property taxes and really helps the affordability when it comes to your monthly payment when shopping for a home. Now, the newer communities that are being built, they are having higher property tax rates, 1%, 1.2%, which is kind of more the middle of the ground tax rate when you compare it to the rest of the United States. There are places in the US that have significantly higher property taxes. I know they're pretty high in Texas. New Jersey's, I think, the top, where it's 2% property taxes. So you can definitely save some money on your monthly payments by having those lower property taxes here. And that's a benefit for seniors too. If you're thinking of moving here and you're able to pay cash for your home because you built some equity in your current place and you're looking for just a nice community to live in and have lower property taxes, this could be a great option for that demographic as well. All right, let's get to our cons of living in Colorado, and one of those is higher cost of living. So Denver ranks on the top or higher end of cost of living when you compare it to the rest of the United States, but the biggest portion of this is housing. 28% higher than the rest of the country. Now, this really is relative on where you're coming from. So if you are coming from a place like Arkansas or Mississippi or Louisiana, where property values are significantly lower than the national average, Colorado is going to feel totally unaffordable and out of range for what you're looking for when you compare the cost of homes here versus the cost of homes in your current area. But if you're moving from a place like San Diego or San Jose or places in California or Boston and New York, you're going to find the housing prices are way more affordable than they were in those areas. And when you couple that with some of the more affordable property taxes, your dollar does go further in a lot of areas than it would if you were coming from, like, say, Chicago or someplace like that. So expensive cost of living is kind of relative to where you're coming from. If you're coming from a place in the country where it's much more affordable, but wages are also significantly less, it might feel like Denver is unaffordable. But when people move out here, they're generally making a lot more money. Median income for a single earner here in the Colorado area is around $85,000. So that is significantly higher than the rest of the country to kind of offset some of that increased cost of living. But once you get past housing, really, most of the other stuff is right in line, if not cheaper, than so many other areas of the country. Right now, gas is around $3 or sub $3 per gallon. $2.89 is what it was today. Groceries are going to be in line with what the rest of the country is paying. Our utility costs are actually a little bit lower in Colorado than some other areas, so you may be able to save some money on your utilities like natural gas and electricity. So just different things to consider when you're thinking of a move here. Where are you moving from? What's your new job opportunity is going to be? And what is going to be the best fit for you and your family going forward. Number 2, risk of wildfires. So you may have seen in the news that Colorado does have high risk, being the Rocky Mountains, for wildfire danger. Now, most of that is set off to the west of most of the areas people live in. Now, we do have communities in the mountains, but Denver is not in those mountainous areas. Fort Collins is not in those mountainous areas that are at highest risk for fire danger. And all of these suburban areas are actually to the east of where these biggest dangers are. So if you are looking for a mountain property, you are going to have to contend with higher insurance rates and the risk of wildfire. But most of the Denver metro area and the places where probably 80% of the population lives in Colorado are fairly safe from the dangers of wildfire. But what they're not safe from is some of the air quality effects from those fires. So these can happen not only from local to Colorado wildfires, but things that are happening in Montana and Canada wildfires, and the air and the smoke and the different things get caught up in the air and come down through our state. So air quality can be challenging at some times during the year. That could happen pretty much anywhere on this western side of the United States. So our next consideration as a con to Colorado, which I don't consider it really a con, but some of the unpredictable weather and the altitude here can be a challenge for some people. If you're moving out here from a state where you're coming from sea level, you may want to take some time to get adjusted before doing anything that's too rigorous outdoors. So if you're flying in from sea level, you're at Denver, you're mile high, and then you're going up to the mountains, which is double the elevation of what Denver is. That can lead to some sickness, nausea, headaches, and all those things associated with some high altitude sickness. So give yourself time to prepare. Of course, I've lived here my whole life and I don't really notice it. I don't know any different. And once you move here and you kind of get acclimated to it, it really doesn't, cross your mind at all once you move here. So it's not like it's something that you're going to have to deal with all the time when you move to Colorado, that you're always going to be sick because of the high altitude. Once you get acclimated to it, it's really not an issue whatsoever. What can be an issue is some of our unpredictable weather. So we do have hailstorms in the spring and summer times throughout the Denver metro. This can lead to some higher insurance costs, not only for your home, but also for auto. And then we do have those big temperature swings like I mentioned earlier. Sometimes you can experience all 4 seasons in one day. It can go from extreme cold to pleasant, very nice day, all within the same 24-hour period. So be prepared for some unpredictable weather. That's why we dress in layers in the Colorado. So you may experience a winter time when you first wake up at 6 in the morning, and by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it's time for shorts and a t-shirt. So some of our weather definitely can be unpredictable at times. All right, now let's dive into a few of the different areas of Denver and Colorado in particular, and give you a little bit of the political landscape of what Colorado as a state has to offer. So like most places around the country, our most urban areas are definitely going to be more Democratic, more blue on the map, and then as you move out from there, the suburbs, there's definitely a mix of red and blue, and then when you get out to the rural areas, it's definitely red and Republican in those particular counties and neighborhoods and towns. So definitely something to consider if you're thinking of moving here and the political atmosphere is very important to you and you want to be in a Democratic area. The inner cities of Denver and Boulder are going to be the two biggest blue strongholds in that area. If you want more of a red or Republican style place to live, the outskirts of the Denver metro area are going to be that way. Our suburbs are going to be purple, I would say. You're going to have a mix of both Democrat and Republican in all these areas around, like Arapahoe County, Douglas County, Jefferson County, Adams County, all of the counties that kind of surround the Denver metro area. And then as you move out from there into more of the rural areas, you're going to find there definitely more red Republican type towns and more rural properties in these areas. Fairly consistent with what you see across the rest of the country. And now if you move down to Colorado Springs, that's very much a Republican area, very red, and has a lot of military base influence there. A lot of that town is kind of based around the military bases and the Air Force Academy. And then if you move up north to Fort Collins in that area, it's going to be Republican and Democrat as well. It's going to feel a little bit more maybe like the suburban areas of Denver, where it's kind of a mix. You have a college town up there, CSU. And then most of the rest of the state is going to be either a blend or a lean Republican. So the most populated areas of our state are Democrat. That's why Colorado has gone for Democrats in the last few elections. But if you move outside the Denver metro area into some of the more rural areas, that can be a good fit if you're leaning more toward the right or Republican. Guys, I hope you found this video helpful. We gave you a little bit of pros and cons to the entire state of Colorado. There are so many amazing places to live in and around the Denver metro area. So if you're thinking of a move, make sure you hit me up. Call, text, or email. I got your back on all things Denver real estate, and don't forget to download that free relocation guide I have linked in the video description below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.